All right. Looks like we are running here. Hello, hello. Hope you're doing well today. Wonderful day, as per usual, you know. Do I need to flip it around like a switch? All right. Got some white balls on the haircut. Yeah. Maybe I will end up just putting this onto But yeah, I hope everybody's doing well today. Gonna get started here in just a moment. Gonna be working on a little pocket pin. It's one of it. It's you know, sorry. It is a design kind of inspired by Kaweco, actually. Kaweco. Whatever. We'll just roll with this on my glasses. Just one moment. Gonna go get some of my collection rather of Kaweco. Alrighty. Woo! Man. What a start, huh? What a start. Come on, AC. Well, at least it's blowing air, I guess. Something. But yeah, so, got some stuff. Ran some errands this morning. Getting a little bit more settled here. But yeah, went to get fitted for a suit because there is an upcoming event that I've been needing a suit for. Working on a pocket pin. Haven't decided which length I'm going to use yet. It doesn't really matter. The main thing is to try and complete something. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. So because of this, we're going to be using the Yobo number 5, which is considerably smaller than other pins, or nibs, I mean. But yeah, Jowo 5 is a pretty interesting one. It kind of opens up more area for you to be, um, I guess, kind of working on your craft. Just gives you opportunity to try out things that are a little different. I mean, you don't actually have to go to a 5. It just gives you a little bit more customization, so you can make like a grip thicker or thinner, or whatever really you wanted to do. So that's kind of cool when you think about that, as far as like the opportunity aspect of it. Just another kit for the toolbox. Come on. Am live, right? Yeah, wait. Add. Wonder. I might need somebody to talk to me a little bit about the ads. I don't know how they work. I don't know how they work. But also, since we don't really have anybody here, I'm going to hop over and grab my notebook right quick. this a little bit too. So I'll put these right there. Enough. Okay. No, I got my cage wet. So for this notebook that I got here, that I dumped all the pages out of, is kind of one of my idea notebooks, and I also have accumulate stuff in here that I want to look at later. There it is. That's what we're looking for. Found one of the bottles. I need to rewrite it, that way I don't end up pulling it out of what it was that I was doing in the first place. Okay. So, what I'm looking at here, let's hop over to the other camera just for a sec, and I'll show you a little bit more so we kind of have an idea of what we're doing here. So, all right, so what I've been looking at here, these are some of my drawings from this. So this is the standard international converter, which is 75.5 millimeters. Whoop. You're upside down. Golly! Golly. Well, this one is at least. Video. Rotate one. Yeah, that's better. Yeah? That's good. Anyway, where were we? Where were we? That's upside down. Why is that one still upside down? Yeah. Whew, there we go. That should be better now. Whew, man, that was fun, huh? Anyway, so we got a pocket fountain pen, and this is the Joe number 6 nib. This is the converter for Kawecos, which have the smallest converters that I've seen, which is pretty dang cool. They also have a plunger filler that will fold over too, so you can make it even more compact, which is pretty darn cool. So it basically is this 19 millimeter or 22 millimeters or so, but then it can actually, it has a hinge in the middle, so it can fold in half. So that's pretty dang cool. This is a standard international converter that I use in all the things. And then, so the overall, with the Joe number 5 and the Kaweco with the extension, it ends up being 95, about 95 millimeters. So that's kind of the minimum length. Well, probably close to 100 millimeters is the minimum length. But yeah, with these pieces together, that's kind of what you're working on. And then you can see it was kind of inspired by the Kaweco Sport. I've got some of those to show you. Joe 5. These are just some notes for myself. And then, yeah. So we're going to make this section about 15 millimeters. Section will be about 15 millimeters. Overall will be 24, including the nib. The nib sticks out 19 millimeters. So overall, that's going to be that. You could actually integrate the cap into it if you wanted to, I suppose. So this is the manual that I have for that. It didn't actually work out, so I'll probably end up having to make another one. Anyway, today is just going to be like kind of playing around in the shop. So um, working on prototyping again the pin here. So yeah, if that's something that you're interested in, let me know. Let's see. So in my mind, I was making this significantly smaller initially, but I think for the sake of this, I'm going to do it on the larger side because those are just all the tools that I have like configured already. So for the sake of like proof of concept, we're going to see if we can just do it and it would just be a little bit girthier, which is not that big a deal, but you know, it kind of serves two purposes. It's a little bit thicker, and then also a little extra room for holding and a little bit more durability when it is in your pocket. Should you choose to put a fountain pen in your pocket. I almost always have one in my pocket, actually. Let's see, it is... Alright, come on, there we go. There we go. Okay, this is one of the Kawecos that I have. This is called the Lilliput, and it's copper, but it's got a lot of patina because it's been in my pocket. Abby also has one, and it looks very different. But yeah, that is the Kaweco Lilliput, and then the pen that we're going to be, we got inspired by today, or for this particular project, what we're looking at is the Kaweco Sports. So the Kaweco Sports, these are probably my favorites actually. This type of pen. I know that some people post it, but I typically do not. But from left to right, this is not a Kaweco. And this isn't a pen. But so we've got an aluminum. We've got an aluminum Kaweco here. You can tell because it's the Kaweco Aluminum Sport. It's got the little AL. There we go. You can see that. And these clips suck. These clips are crap. So I only leave it on there because I don't know what else to do with it, I'll be honest. So, yeah. So that's probably the second tier. First tier, I guess from bottom to top. The bottom tier is the plastic ones. So still Kaweco, still same type, and everything is about the same. But I was really digging the way that the converter was. And initially I was like, oh, we could just remake this part here. And then this part here, we can remake these essentially. And then doing a mod like this. So that was one of the ideas, but we want to try to put our own little flair on it, so we're going to kind of deviate from it a bit as well, and we're definitely not doing the flat surfaces here. But yeah, so that is the plastic one. This is another aluminum one. It's just a gold version. Some of them do have ink, some of them don't. Let's see, we got the brass here. So this is the brass. Come on now. I don't have an overhead light right now, so it's just take my word for it. It's brass. But yeah, so the whole thing is brass, but it still has a little plastic liner on the inside. And then last one, we've got a bronze, The bronze one has not gotten much use, I'll be honest. But it's nice. I really like the bronze one too. Both the bronze and brass have quite a bit of heft to them. The aluminums are, you know, substantially lighter, and then the other ones are even lighter. What is going on? What in the heck is this crap? Oh, okay. I'll turn ads off. I don't like that crap. That's frustrating. There. That's just annoying. So you can insert ads during a transition period or a break. Fine. Okay. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. We got rid of those ads. That's kind of crap because they're popping up like crazy. Not cool, man. So if you need to refresh, come on back. We're gonna hang out. But yeah, sorry. The ads. Not cool. Got rid of them. I turned that off. If I do a break or something, then I'll do it, but it looks like it's just a push of a button. But yeah, other than that, no thank you. That's just obnoxious. Huh. And I don't actually know how to not have ads. Is there a way? Does anybody know of how to not have ads other than, or is it only the YouTube, whatever the VIP YouTube thingy is? I don't know what it's called, but you pay for the YouTube premium. Let's see. Anyway, so I've got a couple other ones. I have a steel, which is pretty dang cool. I've got a steel one here. I have yet to use this one, but it's pretty awesome. All the nibs are about the same. I like finer nibs, but with that, you kind of got to be careful because some of the inks that you use won't lend itself well to that. But check this out, man. This is what I was thinking about. If we could source this type of thing, we could make some awesome houses. And I don't know if Kaweco would be interested in that. They probably don't want to do anything of that nature, but you know, could. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously not overly complicated when you're dissecting it and looking at the tolerances and all that stuff. Now the complicated part here is one of the things that I've kind of drawn out is you need to see where this goes to so you can actually get an idea of where the nib is actually sitting inside the cap. And so you can also get a general reference of how long you need to make it. But that's if we're trying to duplicate it. We're not. We're not necessarily trying to duplicate it. We're trying to do a little bit of innovation. And this is the last, well, I guess second to last one. My other one is an ebonite one, but it's inside, still in its box. But the Kaweco art, which is pretty dang cool. It's a cellulose acetate, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it smells a little acetatey. Uh, it's very narrow right here, super duper narrow. So they're pretty brave going that thin right there. But yeah, that I would imagine chipping that wouldn't be too hard. But oh well, what can you do? And then if you were really interested, this is the clip that comes with it. And this is how they do it. So you see that it goes all the way basically up to the top there. And they do an outer thread, which is pretty dang smart if you ask me. But they do an outer thread, and then they also have a key mark for the clip. So with these things like combined, man, you can kind of see that the clip right here is keyed. as is this one right here. So this side's flat and this side's flat, so it makes it so it doesn't spin or rotate or anything like that. It'll just stay in that flat keyed spot, and then this just goes back on top. And when you're dissecting things like this, take a look at this right here. So we know that this isn't part of the material. This is glued on afterwards or somehow pressed on after it's all done. And might even be able to see a little. If we're overly scrutinizing, which, that's what we do, then you can see that there are some features on it that look like it wasn't manufactured, we'll say. Like it is made on a larger scale, but it's not like a mass. That particular one takes more effort and time. And then this is the last one. This is the only one I've got that is a number 5, or I mean a gold, and it's an extra fine Japan 14 karat. So this is the fine nib that I've got here, and it's a pilot. It's a pilot, and I just really liked the design of it, so that's why I went for it. And it also posts. But the interesting thing about it is it's got this stop right there, and so that stop is also yet another little point of inspiration to where, how when we're doing when we're adding other materials, like doing sleeving stuff, well, you can leave like a little spot here that will make it so it doesn't go all the way, or you can create a stopper for different things. So in this case, it's used as a cap stopper, right? So it goes there, it won't go past, and then same on the other side. So this is the way that you basically define the line where it's going to be on the pin. And from a maker's standpoint, you can put whatever you want to into this. Like this piece right here could be any material essentially, just as long as it will, accept these threads and then fit a nib. Now this is called the front end, and this nib is kind of integrated into the front end, and so that's kind of one of the very interesting things about it. But when you look like really close on it too, you can see that the nib will pull out of this channel right here. There's a little channel that you can pull this out, and it'll just slide out. We're not going to do that because I'm pretty sure I've got ink in it. Yeah, I got ink in it, so I'm not going to do that. But you just pull it right out. Let's see. It is a, kind of, it's got a converter. The converter for these are a little different, obviously, than the Schmidt. But yeah, it still serves the same function as it did before. And the nice thing about this one, I would say, is that it stays the same size, and it makes it so this could actually be a, well, it is, but you could find that, and then what you do is you're drawing up the ink into the converter through the nib. One of the benefits of doing it through the nib is basically you're priming the nib at the same time you're filling up your converter.
What can I do for you?
What do you need?
Didn't you bang on the wall?
No.
Oh, must have been cooked upstairs.
But it's good to see you. It's toasty out here. All right. Let's see. Mohan, what's up, dude? Michael, what's up? What's up? It's engineering at its best. I mean, I wouldn't get carried away, but yeah, I do appreciate the simplicity of some of the things, and then I also appreciate the complexity of others. But yeah, so my goal is basically to break it down and then be able to make a little pocket pin that's going to resemble one like this. So this is one of the prototypes I was working on, and I actually broke the section. But there used to be a section in there. You could actually still see part of it. I broke the threaded part in there. And that's a part of why I'm thinking I'm going to go a little larger with the diameter in the first place. That way I don't have to go through all that again just to be let down at the very end. So we're going to do a little girthier, but it's going to have a similar profile, just different measurements. But this is basically the template that I'm going to go for. And it does post. Basically, for determining where I'm going to post it, the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to measure, like I'll know how big this is, but I'm going to measure the internal diameter anyways. And then I'm going to make sure that it doesn't go as far as the threads. So what I'm talking about is this right here. So we have it screwed all the way in, and there's actually a shoulder on the inside of the pin that makes it stop. So it will not continue to thread at a certain point. And then the reason you want to do shoulder like that is to make sure that the nib won't actually go towards the end and you'll break it. So you need to have a good shoulder in there that allows this to go into it, but not so far. And you need to make sure that the section is stopping it. Yeah, the section will stop it. And then, like I was talking about just a second ago, the inner diameter of this is going to match the outer diameter where I want it to stop for posting. So the other aspect of that is, depending on how you did the inside of the cap, you could potentially have it, completely flat, and it'll just stop once it gets to that shoulder that it was at before. But you'd have to make sure that it was the same diameter as the section, and it would probably go pretty far into the whole thing. But if you imagine a section, the section was only 15 millimeters, and then the nib, so a little bit longer. So overall, it was probably about 24 millimeters. Well, not 24, about 19 millimeters. Yeah, so about 20 millimeters that's sticking out from here, including the section. And then that'll give you a nice little grip. And then this, thinking about the end user always, this is ideally going to sit in this little gap, so it won't actually interfere. It won't rub against your hands or anything like that when you're writing. But I don't have a section on it, so kind of use a little bit of imagination. Let's see. Vinny, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Michael, thank you, man. Thank you, man. We're going to be working on a design that's like that. So it will be a trial and error. You're going to see me suffer through some of this stuff because I can pretty much guarantee that there are things that are not going to work out how I want them to. But nonetheless, we're going to try to make it happen. So let's see. That's it for the prototypes that I was going to share. But yeah, this is probably one of my favorite ones. And then other ones that I made are variations of it. So we're going to use a JOA number 5. We're going to use a M10 by 1 and an M13 by 0.8 triple lead. Those are going to be the tats and dies that we're going to use for this. And then yeah, I think that's about it. The shoulder acts as a seal. Yeah, so with that you can put a little O-ring. That's actually a good point that I didn't mention, but you can actually get an O-ring that is the approximate diameter. That way it'll go in, and then once it shoulders, it'll like push up against the little O-ring, and then it'll seat itself. Now, one of the potential problems would be that as you're unscrewing it, No, it should be fine. It should be fine. But what I was saying is, if you were to do something like that, it could potentially loosen. So if you did it so tight, you screwed it in so tight, and then you loosened it off that ring or the gasket, then what would happen is you could potentially unscrew the section just a tiny bit. So basically, when you pull it out, you'd probably have to tighten it back up if that were the case. But I don't necessarily see that as a major problem. Just, I suppose, a consideration that I have come across and that I'm aware of, and now you are too. Using size 5. Yes, sir. I'll be using a Joe 05 nib for this. Huh. And I put it in here and then closed it up. Of course I did. We're going to move this. Don't need it very much. But yeah, that's the game plan today at least. So we'll see how it goes. You know, just trying to chill before the storm. Not an actual storm, but oh, speaking of which, how's Hawaii? Is Hawaii okay?
Huh?
Is Hawaii okay?
Hawaii?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Supposedly there was like a tsunami or something going through it.
Oh, I saw something about an earthquake, and they were like, but I saw it about Japan, but I guess Hawaii's supposed to.
Huh.
I have no idea. I haven't seen anything today. I haven't looked.
All right, let me turn this on Do Not Disturb, because we don't like that. Okay. What blank are we going to use? What blank are we going to use?
Let's see. Black opal would be really cool.
Yeah, but expect it not to work. Expect it not to work. I mean, I could use either of those if we had an abundance of them. Don't give me a black prismatic. All right. While she is acquiring those things, I have to find my Joe 05. Tap right click. It should be with my other stuff right where I left it, hopefully. I don't care.
I think we got more black opal. Which you've got, I think, in there somewhere.
I'm not looking for that, but okay. I'm not looking for that right this second. Sorry. Cool. Those are going to be cool. All right. What? Well, just a moment. Don't mind me. Should just do a little ad break, I guess. Yeah, give me just one moment. Let me find that. Split 5 will allow you to compact your section. Right on, right on. All right, give me just one moment. I need to go find that. It's in one of my little boxes. So I guess, what do I do? stream marker. Monetization on manual. Yeah, there we go. Manual. Save. All right, here we go. I'm going to try out the first ad. I don't know how long they are. So I've got my thing up too. All right. Those, that. I don't know if that even worked, by the way, so. Or if I like it, by the way. If y'all don't like it, yep. Yep. It should have been in here. But it was not. That's why it's important to put your stuff back. Yeah, there it is. I don't know if that ad even worked, but whatever. Okay. $7.9. I don't want. No, not that one either. Crap, that's my box stuff. What in the world? Alright. Really thought it was right there. What you doing to me? What are you? Are you a 5? Am I Joe 05? $7.5. No. Yep. Looks like we might have to audible this one and just do a not Joe 05. I don't know, man. Nope. Mm-mm-mm. Nib holders. Alright. We're getting closer, I hope. Mm-mm. Boom. Okay. 5 Schmidt. 6.5. Yeah, I've got a 7. I gotta get my 6. I'm gonna have to locate that. It's This is my. Oh, I got a bug in there. Oh, hello, little beetle. Hmm. Well, son of a gun, man. Ugh. Oh man, my bad. My bad. I found it. Here we go. We got this. Oh, Lordy. All right, these are the blanks that I'm going to be using here. This is a Sombra, is what it's called, and then this is a black opal. So I'm not going to use. This is one of my mandrels because it's a very deep red. It's got to go pretty far. So this is kind of what that mandrel looks like to give you an idea. But this is an M12 mandrel. Oh, this one isn't. Okay, the other one is over here. But I don't need it. We're going to be using M13, so doesn't matter. Yes. Okay, M13 by 0.8. Then we have a 7/32 drill bit that is close to the size that we want that to be. So if it's a Joe 06, then it's at 6 millimeters, 5, 7. So this one's 6.5, and then 7/32 is going to be 5.47. So this will give us a hole that we're going to drill all the way through with, and then we'll do the threads and everything, and then we'll flip it around and then do the other side to where we're going to thread it and everything. So let us go ahead and begin. We're going to do this a little non-standardly, which is pretty standard, I guess, at this point. But what we're going to do, work on the section first. But yeah, Joe 05 sections need they need what is it? Well, they're just different sizes, and then it's a millimeter difference between the 6 and 5. Okay. And the actual size that we're going to go with here is 15, 20. We're going to go to 20 millimeters. And this is going to be the entirety of the section, basically. So we'll do 22, give ourselves a little bit extra. Yeah, we'll do 22. That'll be good. So 22, I'm going to go ahead and mark it a little bit here. That's doing nothing. But here we go. My goodness. Talk about a rough start. Alright, so it's about, where are we at? 22. There. That is the cut point, and then measuring the 7/32. And then I'm just going to mark it. These are obviously not set up for repeatability. So, kind of one of the things that I'm doing here is getting the measurements, and then ultimately what I end up doing with these is like deviating, right? So I have to get a starting point in order to get anywhere. So we got this. 17 seconds. Already faced it. And then we're gonna go make sure that we can see the thingy. How is that? That's looking pretty good. Okay. Probably a little much there. Hey, what's up? There we go. It is jerry rig. Perfect. All right, here we go. Okay, I know we went a little bit farther, but that is all right. Like I mentioned before, we are going to do it as a M10 by 1, which, again, if I was going to make this as smallest as I could, I would do probably an M9 and then an M12. But, like I said, we're going to do on a larger scale first to see where we want to refine, if we want to refine. And it also gives us a little bit more margin of error, which is, you know, when you're trying to bring something like to a, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're trying to bring something to a relative complete point. Then the main thing is you want to just make sure that, you know, you focus on what's most important about what it is that you're doing. So we got that, and then for this, what we're going to do is I need to measure. The grip section is only going to be 15. So we got here, we're going to do about a 5-6 mil pin. Yeah. And then if you don't know, what I use is this is my guide actually. You can see my my carbide right here is a little bit bigger. So kind of neat. So this is one of my guides that I use. Huh? Hey, thanks, man. All right, there we go. You can see that this is almost in line with that. This is where we want to be. So we're going to get that out of the way, come back in, do a little more here. Like I said, this is kind of just roughing it out. I'm not going for. We're going for, is it going to work? Because, you know, most of the things that I try don't go anywhere. Although the first time I did a stratified, it did, so that was weird and exciting at the same time. Somebody wanted it, and then that's when I made that number up. All right, how much for it? I might have shaved it too far, but that's all right. Like I said, it's not that big of a deal. As long as it functions, that is my goal here. So, our section is going to be 15. I mentioned that, right? So, I'm going to go ahead and measure, and we're going to do over 15, which, perfect. So that's about 17. So it's going to be a pretty small section. And then because I'm cutting it, I'm going to give myself a couple extra mil. And I know that it looks really short right now, but as we make it narrower, it'll start appearing a little longer. So kind of a weird thing that happens. All right. So now that we're here, we're going to go ahead and stop it, and then we're going to move it out some more. The next part for this blank, right? Is blank is kind of cheating, I guess, but basically we're just going to do the same thing here. Boom, there. Now the recess that we have to make before the converter, I need to measure that right quick. Did I put it back in there? Righty. Put that away. Okay. There, barrel, converter. So, from a design perspective, what you can do is make it so this will fit the regular Schmidt converter. But we're going to do something a little different. If I ever find it again, my gosh, stupid things. Check this out. So this is a Jovo number 6, Jovo number 6. This is the Jovo number 5. So you can see that there's quite a bit of a difference in size, length, girth, everything. So what I was looking for is actually this little teeny tiny thing right here, and comparing it to that. I'll put this in a little container so I don't lose it anymore. But yeah, let's take a look at this right quick, because this will be an interesting thing. Hey, right on, man. I'll see you around, Vinny. Thanks, buddy, for being here. So, measurement-wise, there we go. You can see that it goes basically to that silver, so all the way to here. You have to make sure that when you do this one, you need to measure with the plunger out, because it can't be filled this way. Although you could make a different piece that'll attach to that and pull it out. But one of the potential problems with that is that it would have to go, it would either have to lock in the back position or something like that, you know. So maybe not a good good design. Let's focus on this one right now. Anywho, so we got this. This goes onto this, and then we measure this. This is basically what we're designing the pin around. And then as far as reference goes, this is about 3.5 inches. About 3.5 inches, or what's that, 92, 93 millimeters. So that's kind of our guide there. About 95 is where we are needed to go, and then I need to measure I gotta measure the diameter here of the Kaweco part, because I want to make sure that it will go into the back of the section. So those are different measurements that I'm thinking about. And that's what it's going to be designed around. So yeah, we did that. Now when you're going to do the barrel, as for the barrel, I need to measure the length. So got to see how far this is going to go in, which it won't go past the section, so that's cool. Or past the threads, right? It won't go past. And then this needs to be bored out a little bit more, as you can see. So, a couple ways to go about that, but ultimately, I just needed to determine the diameter of this, create a little recess with it, and that's what we're doing. Yeah. So we can finish the section. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and drill that. I'm going to go ahead and drill out the larger size portion of that with a standard my standard bit that I use for all my other sections, or barrels, I mean, that connect the sections to the barrel. So this is the barrel. And I'm just going to go in a little bit for now, because I want to make sure that, one, it's got enough room, and two, if I need to go deeper, you know, I'll be able to do that as well. So we got that. I'm going to go ahead and drill her. Nice and easy, and back. There we go. Let's see, Whack and Shack. How are the pins going, man? Are you crushing pins now? Okay. And then back to measure one more time. We got 0, and then we're going to go to 15. Okay, so that's the line right here. Okay. There we go. Perfect. So that's that measurement. I need to trim it back to that point. Oh, that's good. Now we're going to create the threads for it. So taking a look at this, what we're doing is making this part right here. So yeah, we're good. Oh, too fast. Too fast. You go ahead and pull that baby out. Pretend like that didn't happen. Fortunately, because it's a smaller pin, shouldn't be that big of a deal. But I'm going to make a section again. But we're going to go about it a different way this time. There you go. Now it popped out. If you're looking for mastery, audio's low. Oh, that's because it's not on me. My bad, man. Thank you for telling me. There, is that better? How you doing, Lawrence? So I messed this one up already. That's cool. Gonna do the same thing we did again. Okay, there we go. Let's try this again. I think I had it too fast. Oh, not this yet. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, here we go. Again, round 2. Yep. Right on, Lauren. Thank you for telling me, man. How you doing today? You sleep better? I went to bed at like 3. Yeah, late night. Okay, so now we got that. Get our guide again. Round 2, Mortal Kombat. Speaking of which, did you hear that they're coming out with a new one? They're coming out with a second one. Pretty excited about that. I enjoyed the first. Well, I enjoyed them all. But, you know, I'm not upset about bad movies or mediocre movies. I'll give them a shot. Give them a chance. Ah, you just woke up. Right on. Ah, those threads feel better. The other ones I think were not that good, actually. But this, yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. What was the dealio last time? I think maybe I was just turning too fast. Rookie mistake. Okay. Now, measure 15. Is this 15? It is. All right, let's try this again. It's kind of crazy because it withstood all that abuse and making it in the first place and trimming it down, all that jazz. Good thing I got more of these blanks too. But I think I can make this work now. Just do not what I did. Don't mess up. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and face this one. Okay. Now to drill that again. There we go. That's nice. Now for the tap. Just tap it in, right? Robert. I don't know, man. When's Scientology gonna be erased? I don't know. You know, they stay at it long enough, they'll morph. Okay, that. Okay. Now we're going to measure out 15 again. And 15 is just kind of a random number that I picked, by the way. It's not like it's got to be 15 or whatever. It's just a number that I chose. Okay. Now let's try that again. If this breaks, you know what we're going to do? Do it again. Do it again, because that's what we do. We just love it when stuff doesn't work out. Alright, nice and easy. Okay. I'm going to measure it against this. And I need to make sure that that yeah, I still think that I needed to go that far. Okay. Let's see what this did. I also haven't used this particular bit before, so okay, we might not be deep enough yet, but we can change that. Okay, we're absolutely not there yet. We have that far to go. So, and this should actually go out the back side relatively simply if everything goes how it's supposed to. There we go. There we go. Okay, I'm going to pop this back out. I'm going to thread it a little further. Or actually, I'm going to go this side first. Find its starting point. There we go. Now it can grab it. Okay. There it is. All right, splendid. So section is now done. Well, I've got to shape it. But the other thing that we need to check right quick is, you see that? Fits in there. Boom. And it kind of sticks out. So that's pretty damn close. That's so cool. Okay. You know, it doesn't happen often where it's like the measurements right where you want it to be. That like never happens. So that's cool. The next thing I got to do is measure this. And then that's going to tell me how far I need to go for my barrel. So I don't, it is 57. It looks like it actually is 57. So I'm going to get my, you don't have to use a large drill bit. It just needs to, or a large drill bit like you use for the threading. You just have to make sure that it's bigger than, you know, this here. I will advise caution a little bit because of how this is. If you have somebody pushing it into the pin and there's a shoulder, what's going to happen? Right? No, Lawrence, I didn't. I didn't know that. Let's see, where are they from? Well, actually, I did know. I guess I didn't know that they were manufactured, but I did know that they made them. So I guess it makes sense in that case. But yeah, remember, if you're going to do a shoulder, you're running the risk of this. But here's where we're going to go with this. We're going to take this to here. Right here is an exact measurement, okay? Right there. You'll see a lot of random marks on my drill bits, potentially. All right, so we marked it. But I just believe that that grind is, you know, slanted the other way. Okay, so getting an eye on this, we know that we need to go just past that. And that'll put us where we need to be for this. But yeah, one of the things that you could do and be fancy is, you know, doing the different shoulders and whatnot. But, you know, for simplicity's sake, I would advise caution. This isn't ideal for the threads, by the way, so. But I had to have a reference for the section. Some people can imagine it when they see it on paper. Some people like to actually see it in their hands and feel it and see what's wrong with it or what adjustments they want to make. That is me. So just past my mark. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Now we're going to use the same I'm going to use the same M13 that we always do. because we're not adjusting sizes. I did make a M12 and a 9 by 0.75, but as I mentioned, I'm going to just start here, and then we're going to adjust from there, because it'll be easier to accomplish this one, I think, because everything's already measured, calculated, and I'm most familiar with it. And then, yeah, one of my problems is I'll sometimes think a little too far in advance and then kind of forget where I needed to go from now. Okay, so that's now good. There we go. Internal support for the other part here, or the die. Ah! My bad. Ah, there we are. Dirty girl. Found you. Boom. Okay, so the section diameter is going to remain the same. Let's see, what else? We're going to maintain that. Where this is going to get a little weird is going to be from the cap, I would say. And then when I'm actually turning the components down to the size that they're going to be. And then we're going to take this right quick. And because we got it set up, we're going to go ahead and get it right in vicinity of where we want it to be. Oops. There we go. A little live center here. Actually, I'll just continue. I'm set up over there already, so that's nice. Okay. So we got to figure out where we are in the pen here. Okay, this is my mark for the depth. So that is where we are for the barrel. But then we're going to add a section. Then we're going to add a cap. So the cap, basically what I need to do is finish up the barrel, determine how long I actually want it to be. So we're going to basically find a number right quick that we want this to be. 2.5. Okay, 2.5 is a good size. Yeah, so that's actually right here. And that puts us at about 65 millimeter. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off, and then we're going to start the cap. Take that back. I'm going to do it in a different sequence here. I'm going to cut it on the bandsaw right quick, and then I'm going to trim it down so we can start seeing a little bit more of what it looks like when it's better off. Because it's hard to actually see the different components to it. So we're gonna have it go like, you know, kind of like this. It's gonna end up being, you know, down here. So grab a barrel mandrel right quick. Oh, Abby, do you have that little barrel mandrel?
The short one you made?
Thank you. Okay. But this, again, this is not exactly a guide. This is a hang out with me, and I'm going to figure it out as we go. All right, that's good. We're going to switch it over. That's right, I was going to trim it down. We're not going to take it down to its final diameter because I need it to be tapered. That's how the cap is going to catch and also move. Or, not catch. It's how the cap is going to work. So I can't do that. Okay, here we go. What the heck? Oh, that's why I keep changing. Oh, okay, my bad. As usual. And I am going to run this all the way to the end. But I am going to do it a little differently as well. So this is actually a part where you could stop and have it so the cap won't go over the threads. But, you know. Okay, we're going to do a narrow pass, or a skinny pass here. You cutting anything? Come on now. Nope. So based off of the knowns that we have, we know that the it needs to be about 12 or so. But we'll even have a little bit more room in the section. Oh, yeah. All right, this will be the last pass for this, and then we'll be able to work from here. Okay. And then I'm going to hop over here and do this section right quick. We'll be over here. So give me just a moment. I need to turn this down. And this is actually a section that's going to be even nicer for the hourglass shape that I like. Okay, we're almost there. Okay, right where we need to be. Okay. We can adjust the design a little bit if we please. Take this off. Oh, come on back. There you are. You pretty thing. Left-handed coffee cup. Goodness. All right. There we go. So we're getting there, right? We're getting there. So what this is going to look like is this. And then with the converter, got to make sure that that fits. So, you know, kind of like a dipstick, except what we're looking for is this going down when I put it into the barrel. So we should have enough space, but if we didn't, we can also drill a little deeper if we needed to. So, boom. Hey, look at that, dude. It's coming to life. Okay, now, from here, I could just do a regular finish, right? I could just be like, you know what? I'm going to leave it like this. But I don't want to. I want to make it so it is like the other one that I was trying. But just know that you could potentially stop right there, and then you would actually be pretty on track for, oh, crap, something like this. So you see how it's going to go to there, and then it stops? Well, this one's not. So, but yeah, this is what I have. And then if we want it to go here, thereabouts, and then we want it to post back here, we need, oh shit. So we want it to post or overlap and then go to about right there. So we're going to make it go down pretty far. And then the other side, it'll be about there. So we're going to measure it about right here. So I'm going to put a reference mark on both sides. So one is going to be up here, and then my other one's going to be down here. And that's telling me where it's going to be, and then this is the other part where it's going to be as well. So this is where it's going to be when it's capped, and then this is probably, hopefully, going to be where it is when it is posted. Now, what before I get too far, I want to try and find basically the middle of this, where I intend on having it be. So we're right at about 100. So actually, that's pretty good. We'll just roll with 100, huh? So there. That is now marked at 100. Cool. Which means that I'm going to mark it again at, so 50. Okay. So 50. This is the middle right here. So it's the middle from here and also from there. So that's kind of where it would be ideal for it to be. Okay. But I still like where I had it. So we're going to roll with that one. All right. So what I need to do next is get my large bit. So this is my normal cap barrel, right? This is what I normally drill. So I need, what I'm looking at here, is where this shoulder matches up with the line that I want it to be at. So that's how far I'm going to drill into the cap for this part. And then for the other, I need to make sure that it goes, there we go. That is my mark. And obviously we may need to adjust, so we'll do what we got to do when we get to that point. But there we go. So I've got this mark. I'm going to go that deep, and it puts it right at the shoulder. So that's cool. And then the other thing I need to factor in is this part here. So I need to measure from this bottom part of the drill bit, and then I need to measure from here to the end, because that is the size that the other bit is going to be that we do for the oh dude, look at that, it's already set. That's so cool. Okay, that's a happy little accident, I guess. Okay, oh, alrighty, here we go. Let's drill it, bro. Really? Okay. Always start with facing. Nice clean surface. You know, you want to start with a clean surface, then you'll get up under, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you don't, but if you don't, that's fine. You just want to make sure that you do make sure that it is nice. Okay. There is my mark on the larger one here. Get rid of you now. Okay, dude. Yes. So we're just going to run this one basically to where we usually take it, which is, like I said, that's pretty dang cool. I love it when certain things just like match up. This being one of those things, so it's exciting. Stupid thing to be excited about, but not to me, I guess. I like it. Huh. Let's see. What the? There you are. Okay. Not as important to do what I'm about to do on this one, because it's not going to be like stopped like the other pins. So this is basically just to knock that corner off. Could have used sandpaper for it, but okay. So before even beginning, this doesn't even go in at all, but this will. But here's where it's going to get weird. So I need another drill bit that's a little bit bigger, and I'm going to have to run it to cover the basically from this part to the middle here. So I need another drill bit that's bigger, that's going to make room for this. That is about 3/4 of an inch in, but we're going to be a little more precise than that. So $20. Okay. So I'm going to use a 13. Nope, that's a 12. I need a 13 mil. Or something around there. There we go. What size are you? Are you 13? No, you're 12. Where are my 13s? What the heck? Alright. Alrighty, this is gonna be perfect! Sweet. Sorry, I got a little excited there. Anywho, so next step is to measure the drill bit right here. So I'm measuring it from here to here. You can see where my other mark was. It's pretty dang close. So, pretty cool. This is a 1/2 inch. I haven't tapped it yet. Okay, there. Whoop. What in the... We'll back it up a little bit because we're gonna have a little bit of travel to do, but nothing too drastic. But here we go. Okay, to there. Now we can back it out. And we may need to do it again with possibly a larger drill bit, but we'll see when we get there. So, the next step is to thread this part, at least what I'm doing. But yeah, we're going to go the same thing, but we're going to go a little past it. But we know that we did drill at least to that point. So we're going to go until it bottoms out, and then we'll see where we're at. Because once we do all the tapping and threading and everything, then it should be better. All right, well, like I said, I need to find that dang 13. Or, So 1/2 inch is good because it's 12.7, but 13 would be even better. That's 14. That's too big. Oh, are these my 13s? Oh yeah, look at that. Look at her in all of her beauty. A brand new 13. I had other ones. I don't know where they are, so I got this beauty. And I'm pretty sure this actually doesn't fit in here. Oh, yes it does. My 7 or my other one doesn't. Okay, before I do that, let me measure. Whew, that was almost a bad day, huh? Y'all were just going to sit there and let me forget, weren't you? Okay, where is my 1/2 inch? Perfect. So we're just going to do the same thing here. We're just going to cross mark it. Okay. That's good. like I said, my stuff isn't exactly set up for this specifically, so it is a little bit of I don't know, not like unorganized, but you know. Kind of like we're just reaming it a little bit, and then we're slowing down. Perfect. Alrighty, so that was the 13. Now we should be able to go in there, no problem. But yeah, the tighter tolerances you can keep on that part, the more flexibility you have at different areas. What? Whatevs. We're just gonna roll that bad boy in there. Okay, how far are we gonna go though? About there. Okay. Now, I think I'm going to have to revise this a little bit more. I'm going to try this actually. This is a router bit, but I'm going to try to use it to clear out. Because we don't really want to see the threads right at the end, or at the start here. Yeah, that's nice. Keep going, baby. Keep going. That's it. Oh, that's perfect. That cleaned it out right there. Ah. Okay, so really all it used was the one side, by the way. It only used one cutting edge. It didn't actually touch the other sides, or the other side. And so if you think about that, what other tool do you know of that can do that? A boring bar. So if you had a boring bar, you'd be able to adjust it and then fine tune. But you know, because we use pretty general standard measurements for most of my projects, you know, I try to keep things a little simpler. But okay, barrel is now fine. This I gotta see. Nope, that's okay. I thought I would have to make one anyways. That is good now. Boom. Look at that, dude. We're getting there. So I got to trim this down a little bit more. So it's going to almost be flush with the threads. And it will be flush with the threads, but it'll go all the way in to here. And then the other side will go all the way to here. So I need to check the depth of this right quick too. And that dang light keeps turning off and it's driving me nuts. It's an automatic light, so it's just being obnoxious. What I'm doing right here is measuring to the shoulder. So I have a step, and then I have another step, and then I have the depth. So mark the depth. Looks like 58. So 58 is right there, and then we'll go above, because that's what we do. And then the other mark I'm going to do is to tell me where the other shoulder is. Because there's two other shoulders in here. One's for the section, like the diameter of the section, and then the other one is for the barrel to go in. Okay, so I got 3 marks. First one, this is how deep the barrel's going to go in. So the first one where the barrel's going to go in. This one is basically where the threads are, and then this is where the section is. So if you can imagine this being inside, it's going to be sitting inside like this. So this is the area for the nib. This is the area for the section, and then the thread started back here, but it'll go past them, no problem, because we bored it out a little bit. So those are the steps that I've got in this right now, and what I need to do is oh, we can't use this. I have to make another mandrel. How many times do I have to tell myself that? Okay. Okay. So, let's see. I need to find... Oh! What we got here? Alright, this is why I keep these little guys around too. So that'll go in, and then we're right there. Cool. Let's make a mandrel. Alright, so the mandrel portion, I use the same technique here. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Or if you're comfortable doing it, just do it. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, kind of get an idea, right? This is a start. Perfect. We're already where we need to be anyways. Let's see. Let me measure that. 150. Yeah, is that right? Jesus. Stupid. Okay, well, cool. We're right where we want to be anyways, so we need to make sure that we go how deep? Right. Okay. You gotta get a little mental image, So this is 12, and then we're gonna drop it down a little bit right here. Okay. Let's see where that put us. Alright, so for this, I'm going to be using my thing. There it is. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to trim this down a little bit on the front end. Yeah. So I'm going to kind of freehand this a little bit. Yeah, we're going to freehand this. Alright, there we go. Okay. Okay. You're just lurking. Right on, man. That's alright. That is alright, man. I'm doing a lot of, kind of talking myself through it. There we go. Alright, we're going to run these again. If this doesn't fit. But it should. Okay. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drop it back a little bit. Use this to try and get just a little skim off of it. Just a little bit. Nothing wazoo. Just trying to flatten it out. Perfect. Alright, let's try this again. And this is why I made it a little bit longer, so I would be able to adjust it like so. Boom. Look at that, dude. If I really, really wanted to, what I could do is actually trim it back a little further so it would be flat, but I like being able to hit... Justin, what's up, dude? I've been waiting on your on the analogs, but I hadn't seen them yet. Good to see you, dude. But you being a machinist, maybe you can make some of these things for me. And I give you a good deal. You give me a good deal, I give you a good deal too. Alright, so I've got my marks on there already. I don't really want to mess them up, at least yet. So this is where the end is, or where we're going to cut it, and then that's the space there. So I'm just going to leave this on, actually. And then, trim the barrel down a little bit more, yeah. I was going to do this over on my wood lathe, but those calipers, by the way, are being very, very annoying. Alright, so this is going to be a little bit tedious, but what we need to do is make sure that I get this side trimmed down to basically the threads, and then from there, let's see, I should probably do this on my wood lathe. Yeah. But we're going to go ahead and hit this little spot because we already got it there. There. Boom. Alright, that is where the end of the pin is going to be. I think we are finally getting to that point. Yeah. Where I can switch over to the wood lathe and finish everything up. Alrighty. Okay, let me switch this cam. Spin this baby around. Golly. I'll flip it around in just a moment. But yeah, man. you gotta be kidding me. You hadn't really been that. You ain't gonna send them. Let me transform. There we go. Oh. There. Uh-huh. Mm. Mm. You poked. Got poked. I don't want that. Okay. Mm. So this is going to be a lot of back and forth probably, because I want to make sure that the highest point is there in this area. I want the highest point to be right here. And that's where it's going to come and it's going to grab, and then same thing on the other side. So wah, 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 wah. So everything else around it is going to get trimmed down a little bit. Okay, this is a little exaggerated, so we will have to make adjustments. Let me trim this back end down a little bit more too. Make sure that doesn't interfere with anything. Boom. Okay, so here's the cap. And this is going to go... See? Perfect. Let's take it off and see how we're looking the other way. Ugh. Weird. Okay, this will go in. Okay, can't go far enough, so I need to make that end more gradual, I think. All right, let's see where that put us. Let's get the full effect here. All right, so we got this. Look at that, dude! It's right where we want it to be. All right, make sure that it goes on with this. Okay. Ooh, we got a little bit of a problem here. Why don't you want to do that? All right. Section. I think I need to make that a little bit narrower. And we're just going to sand it, actually. So I'm going to throw it over here on the metal lathe and do that right quick instead of switching the cam around again. But it'll be pretty simple. All I'm going to do is take this teeny tiny little section and then trim some of the high spots, or sand some of the high spots off on the front specifically. That way, if that is the initial problem, then we'll be able to. Okay. Okay. Let's see if that worked. Okay. Did that do the trick? It did not. What am I missing? Okay. So that goes to there. How far did I drill? Did I drill too far? What is going on here? Okay. Well, that's not going to work. Mm-mm. Okay. This is where the threads start. This goes on. This doesn't go on. What is the dealio? Maybe. What's the diameter? All right, let's try it without the nib. Is the nib the problem? Did I not create space for that? That's not it. Okay. This is where it engages. Yeah. This is where it begins engaging, and then it goes up. Hmm. All right, let's think about this for a minute. All right, I'm gonna go back a little bit and go backwards here. What am I missing? So this to there is fine. So this is accounting for here. Is the body still too long? No, it's not the body that I'm having a complication with. It's the cap, but I don't know exactly why yet. So if that's going to there, it's from here to here. So I use that for. Then the other one should be 12.5. So 12.5 and then 13. So it should go, but it's not. It doesn't look like. The only other thing I could think would be that the shoulder is not far down enough, the other shoulder. So we're going to check that right quick and see where we are. So this is the inside like this, and it goes to here. Which is how it's supposed to be. Am I missing something? Anybody? So this part is right. The other part, what the heck? Let's see. Alrighty, so this is where we went with this one. And let's measure this onto here and see. Yeah. Maybe I needed to go further? Let's see. Got to be really careful at this point, man. You don't want to like start doing random crap and mess yourself up. Okay, so gonna kind of go backwards a little bit to try and figure out where we may have missed a step. Because creating another layer like this is not. It should be simple, right? And if I wrote it down or drew it out, it would be probably a little easier, but still, you know, What size is this? 12.5. Okay. That's fine. We're just going to take this a little further, actually. But we won't exceed the longest part. So, not really worried about that. Let's just see. Okay. Progress. Progress. Okay. Yeah, I did go past that a little bit. Should be good. Okay, we're there with that. Let's go ahead and try to hit it again with a tap, I guess. Alright, so we got a 13 right now. Let's start there. Maybe go a little deeper. So I think that would have been... Okay. I really just want this to go in. Well, might be... This might be where it gets messed up, but... I guess we could try to be more careful. Let's do... ½ inch. Come here, you. Okay, we're going to take this down a little further. We're going to take this down a little further. So I tried this and it is still not quite right. So I'm going to take this down to about right here. That notches on my ½ inch. There we go. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to do the threads again. Ugh. Hmm. Well, that's where we want it to be. This, on the other hand, is being a real pain, and I don't know why. Oh, that's why. Sultan, what is up? What is up? Sorry, we're really having a time here. But yeah, what are you up to, man? I'm just trying to have some chill time in the shop before the upcoming pin show that we're going to. There we go. Okay, this needs to go down. I am from North Carolina. How about you? Where are you from? Oh, there we are. Hmm. Okay. There. We're just gonna start cutting stuff off. Yeah, likewise. Good to meet you as well. Working on this is not exactly soothing. Okay. That is what I needed right there. I needed to see this. So, you're from India, right on. I got quite a few people that I know from India now. That's cool. You're taking student. You are? Do you teach people how to make pins? Is that what you're asking? Or is that what you're saying? You're a educator? Or you are a student and you're taking classes? There we go. All right, something I should do while I'm thinking about it that'll help out too is chase the threads right quick. Where the heck did they go? You know, if my head wasn't attached, I'd lose that too. But here we go. Ah, you are a student, right on. That's cool. What are you in school for? Okay. Seventh class, right on. All right. It's got to be the section. It's got to be. Got to be the section. Mm. That's going to get turned a bit more. I am working on a pocket pen right now, but something that's like messing with my head. So here to here. Okay. That's good. So this is good, fine. I'm gonna have to drill that deeper. Do some of this here. Okay, so that last little bit should have been good. I'm over on my metal lathe just for a second, trying to. Okay, now I should have gone. That's where my problem is. Dummy. There, you? No, not you. Oh, there you are. Okay. That's my problem. There's your problem. Uh-huh. Come on, cat. Help me help you. I don't know why this is so. Right on, man. I'll see you around. Sounds good. Get you some rest. Okay. We are going to use 3/8. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Well, it looks like I'm already where I want to be. Depth-wise, but my goodness. It's not wanting to... Hmm. Ah! Okay. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to grab a new blank. That's what's going to happen. I'm just going to grab another dang blank. And then we're going to do it again. we're going to do this. This. So that will be good. I'm going to drill all the way in. I think what I did is I went too far with the M13 maybe. Or the 13mm drill bit, I mean. I think that could be what I did wrong there. But we are here. And then for this guy, we need to go from there to let's see. That looks good. Wait. Okay. Alright. Just past that mark. Okay. So if I went there with that, I need to go. So this goes to here. So what I'm looking at is this right here. I'm looking at this drill bit, and I just went to about right there. So I need to go this far. Okay. So for this, I'm just gonna move it slowly into there. Yeah. So okay, we're gonna go a little shallower with this one, because I think that's where I goofed up. There we go. But we'll do this, and then, well, that's a way to do it, I reckon. Okay, now, I think I went too far with the other one, so I believe that's what it was. We are just going to let this ride in slow. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's hit this again on the outside. Whoop. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Yes. Oh shoot. Okay. Boom. All right. Did I screw up the other side? No. Perfect. Okay. Hey. Sometimes we just had to go heads down. We're good. Now I got to measure the depth. Man, that was frustrating. Okay, so that is the depth here. This is where I'm going to cut it. Yeah. I'm going to go cut it right quick. Okay. Yeah, it would have been, wouldn't it? Okay. Holy guacamole, man. We got it. Lawrence, you were here with me the whole time, bro. Thank you. What a doozy. This is what happens when you do new stuff. You start messing crap up and not knowing necessarily why. And this kind of comes to a point where you don't know what you don't know in some cases. And that was one of them. This is one that I actually did the section on before. Or I've done one of the sections on, and then I just cut it. So basically it just sits right in there. Like this. See, this is what I did wrong. So you can see I have the space for everything here, right? All the cutout and everything except the threads. Threads are in the wrong spot, right? So I drilled too deep, and I did it again for this one that I'm working on. Like, the part that was supposed to be for this section, my brain was like dumb, and I did it not that way. And then I did it again, so, you know, maybe one of the days I'll understand that repeating the same thing over and over again is insanity. My goodness. All right. So now what I've got to do. So this is good. The barrel is fine. I'm going to go ahead and finish that up, and then we're going to throw this in there. But we got it. We got it, dude. So that's exciting. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this. Finish this barrel here. I don't want to mess with the shape anymore. I like how it goes in and everything into the cap, so we're good with that. But I just need to part this last little piece off. And then we're going to kind of give it a rounded profile at the end. There we go. Not like a round, but like a, you know, just a flat round, we'll say. Pin making is something you're really into? You're not at my level? Oh, dude. You see me struggling over here? I mean, if you aim low enough, you'll probably hit my marks. Oh, man. You know, it kind of goes back to one of my other ideas that I had for turning. When I first started, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to hop on stream, and then everybody else is just going to tell me how to do all this shit. So I kind of thought it was funny when I was thinking about that, at least. All right, I'm going to go ahead and sand these corners right quick, just so I can knock off the edges. There we go. Perfect. That is done. Okay, that's done. Now the barrel here. I need to determine the measurement again. I don't care where the steps are right now. We're going to the deepest right there. So that is it there, and we'll go right there. Okay, sweet. Now we know that the inside is quite a bit smaller, and then the 13 goes a little bit. It goes to there, and then the threads start a little lower. Yeah. Okay, that's not the use for that, but I was doing it anyways. I was using that to get some of the stuff out. Okay. Let me cut this mandrel right quick. Boom. You don't measure anything out, you just go with it. Well, my friend. I usually go for it myself. But I will say this is one of those things that won't work right. You need to measure. Because yeah, it won't work right if your measurements are way off. There is my mark. You can't really see it, but I will make it more recognizable with a pencil. Okay. Now we know that 13. We're not going to go smaller than. What's the wall thickness, Lawrence? Do you remember? Do you remember what we don't want to go below? Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot, buddy. You've been here for a little while. You should know, right? The wall thickness, we don't want to get thinner than 2 millimeter. So, if the largest internal diameter is 13, we cannot go below 15, or we don't want to go below 15. Yeah. That stuff was weird tasting. Okay. And then usually I go off of the diameter of the mandrels, the brass mandrels, that is. But in this case, I'm going to go off of this mandrel, and it's 1581. So, 1581, if we just go basically in line with this, we should be pretty good. Let me get Morty turned on over here. You know, thinking about it, this would have been a lot easier if I did it with clear. But, whatever. So it sounds like you're a never measure, cut over and over again kind of guy. So because we have basically a plastic mandrel right here, what you want to make sure you do too is not have it so fast. Let me wrap with you for a second. So when you're turning something like this and it's on like a plastic piece, which is my mandrel, what it's going to do when I introduce the carbide to it, there potentially could like be a slow, a varying rotation, right? So what I mean, I guess, is where something is spinning, right? Something is spinning, but once you start introducing that cutting edge to it, this is going to keep spinning, but you're kind of hitting the brakes on it right here. So what it's going to do is it's going to try to stay round, but it could end up vibrating too while it's spinning. Yeah, so basically this is spinning and it's pushed against each other, but there essentially ends up being kind of like lag, if you want to think of it like that, where this side will fall behind this. So we'll be doing this faster, and this will be just a slight micro rotation behind. There we go. How's that? Sorry about that, Fred. Thank you for telling me. Okay. I'm gonna turn this way down. All right. So we are gonna make it thinner on the back end here. Get this spinning at about 500 to 700 or so. All right, I'm going to drop this line down a little bit more. Okay, drop that speed back in. All right, here we go. Let's see, where are we? Where are we? Calipers, tell me. 1575, 1594, 1595. Okay, we are going to take almost, well, we're taking 1 millimeter off entirely, and what that means is circumferentially you're taking 0.5 millimeter off everywhere. So you can imagine that. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, here's what I'm going to do next. Before I take it all apart, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that it fits how I want it to. Okay, good. And then one sec. So there, we're sitting there. And there, cool. Now this, come around, post over here. Now it's clear. Now something else I should have done a little differently here is I should have had it kind of taper outwards so the mandrel would have done a little differently because it's not. Let's actually cut that. Yeah, we're going to cut some of this off actually. Go ahead and do that. There we go. Now, I guess I didn't really need to cut it all the way off, but making space for it. Look at that. Boom. So that is almost ideal. Need to back this off. Bring that out a bit more. because I'm going to have to make a little bit of a shoulder on there. There we go. Okay, there we go. Now this, I'm actually going to back this off first, and then I'm going to use my square carbide to probably not a good idea to do that, but we're committed. Okay, there's my little gentle taper. Now we're going to make it a little bit more of a bevel transition. So this kind of acts, it's working on two fronts basically. What it's doing is it's allowing me to get to a point, but it's also creating like a surface that it will be able to hold on to as well. But just don't get it hot, otherwise you'll be in a bad place. Frustrated place most likely. But yeah, let's go ahead and drop the speed a bit actually. So kind of bring this a little steeper here. There. Okay, now, like I said, we're going to do a little fine tuning. I would use my file, but in this case, I'm going to use some 240 instead, because I don't want it to mess up at this point. That'd be a real bummer. And then I'd probably just shelf the idea for a while again. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and part this off. Danny, what's up, dude? How you doing? You can kind of see the mandrel not holding it as steady as it usually does because it's not a brass one. So if I wanted to do a lot of these, I would end up probably getting a mandrel made, honestly. I'd have somebody make one for me. Okay. Now, let's see. Let's do something a little fun here. Only a little bit. We don't want too much fun, damn it. Just a little bit of fun. Let's see how big this actually is. Okay. If I was to use that, that would work. Yep. There we go. Ha ha ha! Okay. Let's see. Okay, these are not that one. This one. This is what we're going to use here. There. Okay. So we're going to put this finial onto that, but I need to drill a little recess right quick. And And this is going to be a 3/8. So I'm going to start with a drill bit and get my initial starting point. And then I'm going to come back with my other tool here. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let's turn her slow. Okay, we're a little wonky, it looks like. So maybe it's not a good idea. Let's see. Let's see where it would end up if I did a little center poke. Let's see if that would be perfect or not. So we're just going to do a little touch. We want to see if it's going to be in the right position. If not, well, I'm not going to do it. So. Let's see. If I did do that, let me do a little halo cut here too. I call it a halo cut. I don't know what the heck it's called, if anything, but okay. Nice and slow. Okay. One side is absolutely thicker than the other. So, what that tells me is a couple things. One, this isn't threaded where I originally did it. And two, I need to try to find that position. Nope. Okay, let's look at the wall thicknesses here. Hey, that's much better. Perfect. All right, here's what we're gonna do. 3/8. Boom. It doesn't need to be a 3/8, just something to get your 3/8 started. And then right there, perfect. Just a little bit. There we go. Whoops. Too far. All right, now we can hit it with this little guy. Okay. Then just a little bit of refining right away. Cool. I'm not going to take it out of this again until I'm for sure done. Okay. Boom. Where's the rest of the pin? There it is. Woo! Dude, we did it! Okay, I could use some revisions, but man, we did it. Could make this quite a bit thinner, I think. Oh man. Alright, I need to make sure that the depth is appropriate and I don't need to do any other adjustments before we get to the sanding and polishing part. Okay, so that goes all the way to there, so I do have a little bit of room. This, when it goes all the way into the shoulder, goes to there. So let's measure. Okay. I'm going to drill a little deeper with a small drill bit. Thank you!
You're welcome!
Okay, let's see. First, let's see if I can fit it into here. Give me a nice... Yes, okay. Dude, check that out. Okay, now... Uh-huh. Sorry, you gotta see the back of my head like that. What? Alright. Something's off. I don't know what it is. Okay. Let's go ahead and do this. Throw the Sharpie on the ground, that's good. Okay. So there's my mark on this. You can, maybe not, but it's there. Look at that, dude! Okay, alright. I don't need to go very far at all. Alright, we're just going to go a touch past that point. Alrighty, there we go. Yeah, that material that I have for the finial is is pewter, I believe. I have copper. Let's see, I got copper, bronze, brass, pewter, stainless steel. What else? got some other ones, but yeah, I just got them all, a whole bunch made, and that's so I can have some to test and also be able to determine if that's the size that I wanted to go with and everything. Okay, here we go. Okay, what was this anyways? 730 seconds. All right, we get a lot of mileage out of our 730 seconds. Okay, all right, here we go. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Where's my handle for the Morty? There. All right. Well, I was going to sand, however, we got to go take the kids over to their grandparents, so just gonna have to leave you with this. And there we have it, the pocket pin. Needs a little bit more love. But yes. Let's see. Gonna need to do a little bit more loving on these threads on the inside. But other than that, I think it's pretty good. Or maybe the outside. We'll try the outside first. I also had an idea of doing chip carving, huh? There you go. That's interesting. That'd be interesting. Let me know how it goes, brother. We're gonna try to clean these up a little bit more. Make sure that this isn't causing the interference. Ooh. Oh. I'm gonna chase his threads with a sharper, well, a newer one, I guess. Okay, it was newer until I threw it on the ground. I'm just kidding. It's still alright. It's alright. Let's see. There we go. Where are my pliers? There they are. $60. Good knives cost about $60 a piece. I have a pair, or I have a set rather, of knives or carving knives specifically that that are crap. What are they? They're the ones that I got from Woodcraft. They're like the light colored handles and but they're nice. They're sharp. They came with a little strap and stuff. So okay. Now this, put this into here. I'm gonna do this again. Oh yeah, the flex cut. That's the one. I've got a set of those. Yeah. All right, we good. We are good. I gotta come back and clean this disaster now, because I won't be able to do it till I get back. Ah, come on, baby. Are you there? Oh, there we go. Dude, we did it. Okay. Finally, got them cleaned up enough to where it functions a lot more smooth. Yeah, perfect. 3/8 finial is gone. All right. Anyway, let's hop over here. I broke it. I'm just kidding. There we go. There we go. All right. So I'm sorry. The camera is a little droopy. Not cool. Not cool. Get it together, Cam. Oh, it's because of that. Hey. Hmm. Okay, there we go. That's that'll do it. That'll do it. Anyway, thank you so very much for hanging out with me. It was a good little stream. Only 3 hours and 45 minutes. That's how long it takes to make a pocket pen. So about 3 hours if you suck at pen making, I guess. Or you make it the wrong way in the first place. But hey, you gotta learn. And if you don't learn the first time, that's the beauty of it. Lessons will just keep happening. So I gotta say that's a pretty unique thing about life is that if you don't learn the lesson the first time, it seems like it has a way of teaching you all over again. So you'll run into the same problem again at a later time. But yeah, man, that was fun. That was cool. I think we can definitely get that time down. Once we get the processes and I get all the tools set up appropriately. So now I have basically both sides of the components that I am trying to do. So yes, pretty cool. I gotta say, I think this is pretty darn cool. It's been one of the things that I've always wanted to do. So for some reason, I always had it in my head that it was going to be an M9 and then M12. And I was like, why not just do not that? And there we go. It worked out. Worked out. So once I get this ironed out entirely, then I will be able to, you know, be able to do it more consistently and be able to kind of guide through the different steps a little better. But again, this was more of a learning one than it was a instructional one. You know, it's one of those things that I like to show that, you know, there's still, even if I look like I know what I'm doing about everything, I don't. So there's still a lot of things that I get to learn, and that's another cool thing about pen making is that you can just go further and further down the rabbit hole if you really wanted to. You know, to tuning nibs, to making nibs if you really wanted to. Getting all your tools configured for a specific model is probably the next step for me, because I do like this particular model. I'm going to need to revise it here and there, but yeah, this will be one of those streams that I will go back and I'll look through some things probably and see what I did and what I missed and stuff like that. So good thing it was a short one. That way we'll breeze right through it. But anyway, appreciate y'all hanging out, and I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. Tomorrow we will be traveling to DC. So I'll see y'all around, and I'll probably throw some pictures or clips and stuff like that while I'm there. But I wouldn't expect too much, I'll be honest, because I'm focused on the show. But, you know, I'll try to throw some things in there here and there. But yeah. Yeah. You try to make nibs, your brain would fry. Well, I think it would be a little different if you saw how they were made. And again, it's having the right tools, and you're not trying to MacGyver anything. So that was a nod to the older folks around. MacGyver. All right. Y'all take care. I will see y'all next time.